A 17-year-old, no, that's not quite right here. Let's move on to the next story.
A 17-year-old girl is facing charges in that accident. The president is all right, but it looked like a food fight on Air Force One. The presidential plane was on its way to South Carolina last night when it hit some rough weather. The jouncing bounced Secret Service agents and reporters out of their seats, flinging food all over the cabin. The president, who buckled up at the first tremor, calls it a character builder.
After 6 days in a cornfield, the military is picking up the wreckage of that Iowa F-16 fighter jet east of Sioux Falls. Before the military started moving it, the top investigator took news crews on an up-close tour of the scene. The experts concentrate their study on the engine, which stalled 4 minutes after takeoff from Sioux Falls. They'll move the engine and all other scraps to a Sioux Falls hangar.
It's about 100 by 400, we think, so we're going to have an easy time, relatively, of picking up pieces and identifying what happened in this incident.
The pilot who put that F-16 fighter jet down in the Valley Springs field is out of the hospital. Colonel Ron Dardis suffered from a cracked vertebrae after ejecting from the plane just before the crash.
Well, I did make a last-minute change of the direction of the aircraft after I came through the undercast to avoid a farmhouse.
Dardis will wear a back brace for 6 months, but he says he intends to fly again.
Now let's fly into our Keloland Storm Center. Any trouble? 16-year-old Ashley Landers, the youngest person still at the Freeman Ranch, came out today, leaving her mother behind. The FBI expects the rest to call it quits tomorrow. But the FBI is crumbling too. One of the owners of the ranch, Dean Clark, slipped through FBI lines to start his planting, saying he couldn't wait any longer. But Clark isn't loved by either side.
His last words were, get the hell out of here. Don't come back.
It wasn't the FBI who said that. It was Clark's father and grandfather, the former owners of the ranch, and both Freeman. Baseball has spoken out to silence one of its own. What's this story all about, Tom?
Bobby, of course, baseball's power brokers say Cincinnati owner Marge Schott has embarrassed the game enough, and today they made her give up control of the Reds for the next 2.5 years. Now, she still owns the club, but she will not be involved in its day-to-day operation, and she will not represent the Reds publicly or at least...
News continues. It's pastime, but it's no longer the most popular sport.
Auto racing has zoomed past all the others to become the nation's most watched sporting event.
In tonight's Eye on Keloland, Don Jorgensen and photographer Kevin Kiergaard show us why today's sports fans have a need for speed.
Auto racing has always had a certain kind of appeal, even in the early days of the jalopies. But racing has turned the corner and is now the #1 spectator sport.
Now the race is on and here comes pride in the backstretch. Heartache going to the inside.
I just love the speed and the noise. And I like to get hit with mud once in a while.
Whether it's sprint cars or NASCARs, racing is big business. Many make it their professional career.
And while racing is a business for the drivers, it's more like a lifestyle for the fans.
From checkered flags to T-shirts to toy cars, everyone wants a piece of the action, both young...
They race fast. They do.
...and old. August Munhenke has been coming to Huset's for the past 33 years, driving 250 miles. Impressive for a man who's 82.
I just decided this was the place, and we've been coming, and now it's just like home to me. I know a lot of these guys here, just come and go, see?
It's an American sport, you know, a lot of grassroots type people. If you look at the demographics of the people who come, the women are getting more interested in it and realizing that it's a lot of fun.
And addicting, no matter what the weather's like.
When you come out here and sit with long johns and 2 sweatshirts and jackets and sleeping bag just so you can stay warm, no, there's nothing I'd rather do on Sundays.
I guess the more you go to it, the more you love it. Once we started going, we just kept going and going and got to the point where we never missed anymore.
So what's the attraction?
I like the speed.
The noise.
I like the crashing ones.
Well, I think there's people there for all of that, you know. That you hear the oohs and the ahs when the crashes happen and things like that. But, yeah, I'd say maybe the speed of it.
And it's the speed that has fans on the edges of their seats. But it's the crashes that brings them to their feet.
race is on and here comes pride in the backstretch. Heartache going to the inside. My tears are holding back there. I'm trying not to fall. My heart's out of the running, to the scratch for another say. Race is on and it looks like heartache, and the winner loses all.
With Eye on Keloland, I'm Don Jorgensen.
An average night at Houston's attracts 6,000 fans.
But on special nights like World of Outlaws, 7,500 spectators fill those bleachers, and that's more than any Skyforce game.
As we leave the racetrack, we head for the ball diamond.
You'll hear from former big leaguer Bob Gibson next.
Look for sizzling summers.
Here over the weekend for the Legend Sports Classic, and tonight in the Spotlight, he shares some insights on baseball today, athletes as role models, and Chicago Bull Dennis Rodman. Bob Gibson was the winning pitcher when St. Louis beat Mickey Mantle and the Yankees in Game 7 of the 1964 World Series. So when he talks about pitching then versus pitching now, you tend to listen.
They say that they don't liven the ball, but I think they do. The strike zone, as far as a pitcher is concerned, is just outrageous. You have to throw the ball in a little tiny zone and for them to call a strike. And usually when you throw it in that zone, they knock the crap out of it.
Which leads to the subject of knocking the crap out of the batter. Gibson always did believe, and still does, that chin music is the only way to keep the game from turning into a home run contest.
And so you pitch him in here. If you get him looking in here, then you can go back out there. Because no pitcher makes his livelihood pitching inside. Because when you pitch inside, they go 500, 600, 700 feet. And so you try to get a guy out there. So you pitch in here and you make him look in here. When I say in here, I mean in off of the plate. Sometimes it gets away and it hits him.
Not that he's a violent guy. The knockdown is just part of the game, just as the knockdown has become part of this game. And the guy with the wacky hair is often involved, but you won't hear Bob Gibson knock a guy like Dennis Rodman.
Because he's a good ball player. And I could care less how you act, as long as you produce. And that's the only thing you're looking forward to, is a guy who's producing. What he does off of the field or away from the ballpark, then that's his business. And if you want to go out and do those types of things and live comfortably with it, then that's fine. But it wouldn't be my choice. But then that's what this world's about. We all have choices.
And Gibson chooses not to put himself or any other pro athlete on too high a pedestal. He says you can't expect every athlete to be a role model.
I have a kid that's 12 years old. He grows up. I want him to say, I want to be like my dad. I don't want him to say, I want to be like Michael Jordan or anybody else. And the best role model in the world is your parents. And if you can be a good parent, I think that in itself will be enough.
Carbon monoxide from a grill put the John Massa family in danger overnight. Mike Costa, who is in jail accused of making threats against Keloland TV, is suing Minnehaha County for $22 million. A look at our daybreak weather.
Tomorrow, temperatures when you wake up will be into the 50s, 54 for Sioux Falls and Aberdeen, 57 in Pierre, 54 for Rapid City. Lots of sunshine tomorrow, but a chance for thunderstorms tomorrow night.
And you won that golf tournament today.
The team that we were on won the golf tournament for the ladies' side. No thanks to me.
That's what I heard. No thanks to you.
It was the team. It was the team effort. I don't claim with my golf score. Nope.
You have some other scores, though, for us, too, right?
NBA Finals tonight. Yeah, Game 4 going on in Seattle. Looks like Seattle's going to win it. They're up by 20 right now. So it's 3-1, and Game 5 is Friday in Seattle. The Mariners did beat the Twins tonight.
Children were playing near a woodpile when a 15-foot python slithered out. If somebody doesn't claim the snake in the next 3 days, it will be shipped out of California for adoption.
Out of California, it must be politically incorrect to have pythons.
Oh, maybe. Well, all I can say is I think I'd rather be adopting a one-legged flamingo than that snake.
She isn't up for adoption, but the flamingo Peggy Sue now has 2 legs to stand on. She's sporting a pink prosthesis. That's an artificial leg. Peggy Sue's leg was broken in a fence at the Las Vegas Flamingo Hilton. It took a company that normally makes limbs for people to come up with Peggy Sue's device. And 4-year-old Iowa girl is a hero tonight. Ashley Knapp's mother hit a deer flipping their car into a rain-swollen culvert. Her mother was pinned under the car, so little Ashley unbuckled her seatbelt, walked through a water-filled ditch to the road, where drivers saw her and called for help.
I'm happy.
Why?
Because I love my mama.
That's
Incredible story.
About sums it up, doesn't it?
It sure does.
The television shows are calling. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good night.
Was tipped. Both front windows here were broke, and the cupboards, and it was just, they just annihilated the dishes.
In all, 11 windows were broken. The flagpole was thrown through one of them. Beer bottles were left behind.
The doors have never been locked to this church. We have many people that stop by at this little church and just come in and visit and meditate. We feel that it shouldn't be necessary that the doors have to be closed for anyone.
An antique shelf was broken, a picture of a church founder was smashed, and new paneling was gouged. Just 2 items were stolen, the American flag and the old Bible that sat on this table. The Bible had been given in memory of church member David Nelson, who was killed in a plane crash in 1946. Ironically, the church was vandalized 50 years to the day after Nelson's death.
The Moody County Sheriff dusted for fingerprints, but so far, no arrests.
An arsonist is at work in Watertown. Someone has set fire to 4 mobile homes in the past couple of months.
As far as an actual motive, right now we can't find anything substantial that anybody would have to gain by doing this. We're looking at every possibility.
Since all the trailers were unoccupied, nobody's hurt. This fire in Sioux Falls could result in serious charges against a 13-year-old boy. Police want the boy charged with arson and theft. They say the fire started when the boy tried to burn a pair of stolen rollerblades. This accident on I-90 in Sioux Falls has turned deadly. 21-year-old Melissa Hansen was a passenger in a pickup that rolled over when driver Robert McNally swerved to avoid hitting some debris on the road. Hansen, who was thrown from the vehicle, died of her injuries today.
People in Keloland are assessing the damage after a hailstorm ripped through the Flandreau area and parts of southwest Minnesota this evening. The hail piled up in drifts on the road that leads to the Royal River Casino. Golf ball-sized ice tore at cornfields, shredded trees, and broke a few windows. The storm left behind plenty of standing water. The golf balls were also flying in southwest Minnesota near Adrian, Magnolia, and Bigelow. Before getting to more news, let's see if the weather is settling down for the night. Christy?
Well, it is in South Dakota and southwest Minnesota, but we do still have some strong thunderstorms moving through northwest Iowa. At this point, it's barely on our radar picture, but we do have severe thunderstorm warnings for Woodbury and Plymouth County in northwest Iowa.
Through the snow, you have a 45-degree angle that splits the snow and throws it to the left and to the right. It allows the vehicle to pass through snow, whether it be powder or crusted snow.
Miller's plows are mounted on the front of a 4-wheel drive to give it better control in blizzards.
Last winter, I spent a good portion of my spare time driving around places where most people wouldn't think to drive. I was impressed.
So are a lot of other people who have seen Miller's invention. Just recently, he won an award at the Minnesota Inventors Contest.
Anybody that needs to drive, say before the streets are plowed or during a blizzard, you know, and that's a wide range of customers there. You have emergency vehicles, rescue vehicles, you have the highway patrol, you have your local law enforcement agencies, hunters, farmers, ice fishermen.
Miller has been working on his drift deflectors for 3 years, and this winter he hopes to see his invention plowing paths across Keloland. In Watertown, Melody Morton, Keloland News at 10. Now, Miller is also working on a drift deflector for cars, and he figures his plows will probably sell for about $600.
Well, they all laughed when Henry Ford mass-produced the car, too, so he may have the last laugh.
Looks like a good idea.
Yeah, it does. It does, for those finger drifts and stuff. The Whitewater Rapids are churning again, and this time they're lapping at the steps of the White House. One of President Clinton's closest friends and political allies will be named as an unindicted co-conspirator in the trial of 2 Arkansas bankers. Prosecutors say White House advisor Bruce Lindsay covered up large cash transactions by then-Governor Clinton's 1990 re-election campaign. The president says he's confident Lindsay did nothing wrong, and Lindsay says he's not leaving the White House.
No, I didn't offer to resign. I did nothing wrong. There is no purpose or reason for me to resign.
Lindsay has not been charged with any crime. There's another legislative scandal in Minnesota. Senate Majority Leader Roger Moe is charged with using his office for political fundraising. The DFL leader denies it, saying he's the victim of a disturbed former employee.
A mother faces the death penalty tonight, accused of killing her own children. After 2 weeks of threading through what they believe is a phony story, police in Dallas are charging Darlie Routier with killing her 2 sons. The woman said she and her sons were attacked as they watched television, that she wrestled with the attacker as he slashed her throat.
The crime scene tells a story, and it tells a hard story, and our thing is that story's not the same story that she's telling.
Police say the wound to Darlie Routier's throat was minor, and they have found a knife that they believe is the murder weapon in the house. Routier's husband and baby were sleeping upstairs at the time of the murders. There's an equally strange story in Minnesota. A 3-year-old baby is dead suffocated when a friend of her mother's rolled over on her. The 2 women had been drinking. So far, it's being considered an accident.
It may be a long time before ValueJet Airlines takes to the skies again as family members tell of bad treatment after the ValueJet crash. There are reports tonight that company mechanics faked some paperwork. It's reported they said those oxygen canisters had safety seals when they really didn't. Only the pilot is dead in the crash of this Navy plane in St. Louis. The plane, piloted by a civilian, just missed a house on its way down. There's a crazy drive-by shooting in Arizona. Matthew Nevey shot up a Greyhound bus as he drove past it. Then he did a screeching U-turn and slammed into the bus head-on. Nobody on the bus is seriously hurt, but Nevey is dead. This stock pond near Summit, South Dakota has claimed a life. 15-year-old Alan Omdahl was swimming with friends when he got tired and went under. 5 people are dead in this flood in central Italy. 6 hours of rain triggered floods, landslides, even collapsing a bridge. Helicopters were used to rescue some people from the raging waters.
Incredible pictures. Well, all of the water around here has spawned a bumper batch of gnats and mosquitoes. The city of Sioux Falls uses chemicals in standing water to kill the larvae and stunt the growth of mosquitoes already born. And for the full-grown bloodsuckers, the city sprays malathion in parks and ball diamonds 3 times a week. But gnats are untouchable.
They blow in with the wind, and the way that they breed in mud and the running water, there's just no way to control gnats.
Only female mosquitoes bite, and they can migrate as far as 30 miles.
Tom has tennis to lead off tonight's sports.
Steve, the Sioux Falls Tennis Association has been hosting the South Dakota Junior Open all this week. Liz Donahue and Tara Houlihan won the 12 and under doubles championship today. So now
we'll be going to a tennis tournament in Minnesota. It's sectionals, and hopefully we'll do well there.
It's different than here, kind of. There's a couple more people because, I don't know, and, well, we don't get to stay at home.
They hit the road when you go in the big time. If they win in Minnesota, they go to Oklahoma for a national tournament. And the Sioux Falls Tennis Association puts this thing on to get kids playing. They do a good job with it.
Boy, Donahue and Houlihan, there's kind of an Irish bias in that thing, isn't there?
Some big tennis names in town.
You're going to be talking to Chris Carter later on?
Chris Carter, Vikes receiver, was in town, and we'll have him in the spotlight later. Yeah?
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Christy Vermullum joins us next with the rest of your weather. Things are looking up in the next 5 days.
Then what makes South Dakota riders right?
Remember, you are also walking into history.
Poets and authors and their stories after Christy's weather.
But first, here are tonight's Powerball numbers.
In an average lifetime, a person can expect to go through about 16 cars, 1,243 bars of soap, 7 toasters, 13 televisions, and only 1 water heater, if it's electric. For more information on lifetime warranty electric water heaters with generous cash rebates, call your electric cooperative.
Strength and style. And now, with more power, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities. Get more pull. Get a Sierra. Right now, you'll find a terrific selection of Sierras, so stop by and take your pick. See your GMC dealer today.
One sudden noise up here,
and I'm history.
I knew I should have stopped by Taco John!
I could have gotten their 6-pack and a pound special. 6 soft shell or crispy tacos and a heaping pound of their famous potato olays. Oh, yeah. Hey, boy. What, no extra hot sauce? Taco John's. That's good Mexican.
At Patrick Motors, our prices are as friendly as we are. Stop in at our I-90 location and drive home a great deal.
Tonight, The Late Show
makes me feel like $1 million damn bucks.
with Eraser's James Caan. And tomorrow, catch Baywatch's Gina Lee Nolan and Vince Gill.
Let's get right to it.
Yes. Well, we want to take first of all a look at this Skycam time lapse that we did from the